नमस्सर्वेभ्यः श्रूयते वा?
आं महोदय।
एकनिमिष. We are live actually now. Okay. So I have just named, we are actually live and it is public. So if anyone wants the link, that will be available in the YouTube, this one, YouTube live. You can just click on that and can go live also. If anyone wants, you can share that as well. And anything specific, what is this session is about dictionaries, right? Astu. So Mohdaya, should I make, you are the person hosting it, right?
Yes.
So what I will do is, I will do one thing. I'll give you host rights and also pin you so that everyone is seeing only you.
Astu. Tatha kurma.
Astu. Javanika, you can share the screen and do things more there.
Astu. धन्यवादः महोदय. तर्हि आरम्भं कुर्मः. प्रथमं प्रार्थनाश्लोकैः उक्त्वा अनन्तरं सत्रं प्रविशामः. अस्तु. ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. अस्तु. सर्वेषाम् अस्मिन् वर्गे स्वागतम्. बहुकालात् अनन्तरं अहं पश्यामि कांश्चन जनान्. सन्तोषः विषयः, भवन्तः सर्वे अत्र आगच्छन्ति इति. So this session will be about dictionaries and the unique challenges we face in Sanskritam when looking up dictionaries and how to address some of them, what dictionaries are, and a few more additional topics, special topics.
Mohdaya, this is 1 hour, 1.5 hour session, Mohdaya, just for the sake of.
Mostly, I think 1.5 hours.
1.5 hours. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Lavanya Mohdaya, can you also record it on your computer as a backup, if that is okay?
Astu Mohdaya.
Host rights, you want the host rights or is?
Mohdaya.
I'll make you the host. Okay, thank you. Sorry, Mohdaya, please, Kshemyata, Bhavan.
चिन्ता मास्तु. धन्यवादः महोदय. अस्तु. वयम् इदानीं एतत् सत्रं प्रविशामः. अस्तु. अहं मम दृश्यम् अहं स्क्रीन् शेर् करोमि. एकनिमिषम्. अस्तु. मम स्क्रीन् दृश्यते वा? अस्तु.
आं दृश्यते महोदय.
धन्यवादः. अस्तु. तर्हि आरम्भं कुर्मः. अत्र कोशदर्शनम् इति विषय. कोशे कथं दर्शनं, तत्र के अंशाः सन्ति. So I heard that people from many levels are here. So I made these slides in English, mostly in English. I will also explain things mostly in English. But if there are any questions, please feel free to stop me and ask at any time. This is a very interactive session. Okay. So first, let us look at, I will try to, let us look at an example to start with to understand what are the differences in dictionary lookup between a language like English or any other language and Sanskritam. What are the conceptual differences? Now, let me start by, I will write a sentence in English. The students read the books in school. इति एकं वाक्यं स्वीकुर्मः. संस्कृते एतत् कथं वदामः? Please.
विद्यालये छात्राः पुस्तकानि पठन्ति.
उत्तमम्. विद्यालये छात्राः पुस्तकानि पठन्ति. एवं स्वीकुर्मः. किञ्चित् बृहतीकरोमि. अस्तु. विद्यालये छात्राः पुस्तकानि पठन्ति. Now, let us assume that I want to look up the meaning of the word students. So then I go to a dictionary. I just search for the term student. I want to know about read. I just search read. Similarly, books. Similarly, school. So whatever words are there in the sentence, I can search for them directly in dictionaries for English. इदानीं संस्कृतविषये पश्यामः. विद्यालये. Now, let me go to some dictionary and then let me search विद्यालये. अस्तु, अत्र विद्यालये आगच्छति यतः स्पोकन् संस्कृतं. But if you go to a normal dictionary, अत्र विद्यालये इति कुर्मः चेत् अत्र स्पोकन् संस्कृत इति ऋते कुत्रापि विद्यालये इति न आगच्छति. विद्यालयः विद्यालयाः तत्र एव आगच्छति. इदानीम् अहं पुस्तकानि इति करोमि चेत् प्रायः स्पोकन् संस्कृत इत्यत्र आगच्छति, परन्तु अन्यत्र पुस्तक इत्येव आगच्छति. So the first step is, how do we search for words in Sanskritam dictionaries? Patanti, if I search for patanti, probably nothing will come. Astu. Now, can the class please tell me what we need to do in order to search for these words in a Sanskritam dictionary? How will we?
You have to look Pratipadikam, the base word.
Pratipadikam. Astu.
अथवा धातुः.
अथवा धातुः. उत्तमम्. अत्र पश्यन्तु. When in Sanskritam dictionaries, you generally search for Pratipadikam, the Moola Rupam of the word. So if it is in if it is a Kriyapadam, the verb, then you look at the dhatuhu to get the meaning. In a sentence, there is one Kriyapadam. Atra patanti iti Kriyapadam. Anyat sarvamapi Namapadam iti vadamaha. So for a Namapadam, we will search the Pratipadikam. What is the Pratipadikam for Pustakani? Uttam. Pustaka. Pustaka. Athava. For Vidyalaye, what is the Pratipadikam?
Vidyalaya.
Vidyalaya. Chhatraha.
Chhatra.
Chhatra iti Pratipadikam. Anantaram Pathanti ityasya dhatuhu kaha?
Patha.
Pat iti dhatuhu. Uttama. Ataha, we will search for these forms, the root forms in the dictionary. Astu, uttama. Now, let us go to a somewhat more involved example. Probably people know about this famous shloka, Vagarta viva sampriktau. Kopi etat shlokam vaktum shaknoti va ekavaram?
Vadami. Vagarta viva Vadami. Vagarta viva sampriktau. Vagarta pratipattaye. Jagatah pitaro vande Parvati Parameshwarau.
Uttama. Atra pratamam shabdameva svikurmah. Vagarta viva sampriktau. Anantaram gacchati. Atra pashyantu. Atra kim karaniyam. So suppose I have this word Vagartha viva. Now let me go to the dictionary and let me type it. Obviously nothing comes up. Why and what should we do?
Pada Visleshana.
There is sandhi, samasa, everything is there. You have to separate the words.
Uttamam. Sandhayaha. Sandhayaha bhavantaha prayaha jananti. It is a way to combine letters for ease of pronunciation. So how will you split Vagartha viva? Kopi janati va?
Vak plus artau plus iva. Vak artau iva. Vak.
Vagartau iva. Vagartau iva. Uttamam. Anantaram samasaha. Atra Vagartau ityasya shabdasya pratipadikam Vagarta. Tasyapi anveshanam kurmah chet prayaha kimapi na labhyate. If you search for Vagartha, probably you won't get anything. That is because of samasaha. It is a compound of multiple words itself. So how will you split atava katam vigraham?
Vak artha. Vak artha.
Vak अथवा वाग् द्वयमपि सम्यक् अर्थ इति प्रातिपदिकद्वयं वाग् च अर्थः च वागर्थौ इति समासः तत्सर्वं भवन्तः जानन्ति. So now we end up with the pratipadikam vak अथवा वाग्. तत्र वाक् इति स्वीकुर्मः. तत्र वाक् इति पश्यामः चेत् वाक् इति आगच्छति. बहुषु कोशेषु वाक् इति अस्ति. तथा अर्थ इति स्वीकुर्मः चेत् अर्थ इति आगच्छति. अस्तु. Are there any other challenges that you see in understanding वागर्थाविव? प्रथमं तदेव पश्यामः, अन्यत् सर्वं मास्तु. वागर्थाविव. Do you see any other challenges?
We may not know the sandhi rules, and then we don't know how to split the padachedam properly.
Satyam. So that will come with practice. Also this is a very good point. You can probably split a word in multiple ways. And that is the reason why you have these slesha or prahelikas, the ability to split words in multiple ways. In fact, let us look at the final word of this shloka. What is the final word of this shloka?
Parvati Parameshwara.
Parvati Parameshwarau. Iti antimaha shabdaha. Now, Parvati Parameshwarau can be split in multiple ways to give multiple meanings. Atra I'll put this under the sandhi and samasa because it is open to interpretation. Parvati plus Parameshwara. Evam tasya vigraham kartum shaknumaha. Parvati cha Parameshwarascha Parvati Parameshwarau iti vaktum shaknumaha. Athava Parvati
Parameshwara.
Rameshwara. Atra Parvati Parameshwara, we know that it is Shiva and Shakti. Tata vayam svikartum shaknumaha. Parvati Parameshwara. This refers to Shiva. Parvati Paha. Rameshwaraha refers to Vishnu. Because Uttamam. Kimartam Rameshwara refers to Vishnu?
Ramayaha Ishwara. Rama is Lakshmi.
Tamam. Ramayaha Ishwaraha Rameshwaraha. So that is Vishnu. So there are multiple ways of potentially splitting the words using sandhis and samasas. So this is a unique challenge to Sanskritam, and in fact, it is intended in many places. This ambiguity is taken advantage of. Ataha, how do you solve this? There is no solution as such, parantu bhashanani. So you look at commentaries for the text and see how they have interpreted it. Athava asmakam avagamanam. So they say when someone reads a text directly, they will interpret it according to the meaning most appropriate for them. So if 100 people read a book, Samskrite eva iti nasti, अन्यासु भाषासु अपि वयमेकं पुस्तकं पठामः चेत् अन्यः एकः पठति, अस्माकम् अवगमने भेदाः निश्चयेन भवन्ति. So the other person may interpret it differently, we may interpret it differently. So this is a natural thing in languages. Parantu kadapi prasangah, whenever there is context, the context, we can make out that this is what is meant. Iti vayam jnatum shaknumah. Astu. What other challenges do you see? Taking the example of the word vagartha viva eva.
We may not know the dhatu or pratipadikam of a word to when it is coming to samasa. Not
Satyam, Satyam. We may not know how to reverse engineer the dhatu or pratipadikam given a word. Uttamah prashnah tasya krite upayaha santi. So I will come to them later on. There are ways of trying to decipher what is the dhatu and the pratipadikam. Since Sanskritam grammar is very, very well laid out, that is mostly a systematic process. So it is a challenge. It can be solved using some automation. Uttamam. Anyat kimapi asti va? Astu. Aham idanim ekam pritchami. Atra aham sandhi vibhajanam karomi vagarthau iva iti prapnomi. Tasmate aham samasa vigraham karomi. I get the words vak plus artha. Now, I go to the dictionary. I search for artha. And I open the page. There are so many meanings for the word artha. Artha can mean rich. Artha can mean as to wealth. It can mean thing. It can mean meaning. It can mean the as to the cause or the reason for the action you're doing. So many things it can mean. Aham patanartham vidyalayam gacchami. Tatra patanartham artham tatrapi agachati. So there it means for the purpose of studying. Tatrapi artha iti shabdaha agachati. So there are multiple meanings for a single word. Ataha atra anekartha vyavastha iti aham vadami. Anekartha vyavastha. Ekasya shabdasya bahavaha arthaha santi. There are so many meanings for a single word. This is a particularly challenging aspect of Sanskritam. Sanskritam is a is an ancient language. Therefore, over the centuries and over millennia, the meanings, the usage of words have evolved. And now we are faced with so many potential meanings and usages of the word. This is true of any language. Idanim Angla Bhashayam Aham Ekam Padam Vadami. Prayaha set iti svikurvantu. Set. Now I ask you, define set. Can you do it? Can you look up a dictionary?
It can be a group of things, or it can be the action of setting.
Verb or a noun collection to arrange.
To arrange. If you are talking to someone who likes tennis, then they may say a set is a different thing. It's a collection of games. So different people will say different things. Maham define set iti vadami chete. There are so many meanings again.
Yeah. The context based, right? It's context based.
Context based. Again, here, knowledge of the context helps. There are some techniques, such as, not techniques, but tips. Is this a verb? Is it being used as a verb? Is it being used as a noun? Is it being used as an adjective? Based on these, we can again narrow down the meaning. Narrow down what the potential intention is of that word. Atrapi keshuchana sthaleshu evam kartum shaknumaha. Now, let me give you a sentence. Bhavati Sanskritam Patati Kiyan Kalaha Atitaha Bhavati Sanskritam Patati Kiyan Kalaha Atitaha. Etasya Vakyasya Kaha Artaha.
How long since you have been studying Sanskrit?
For how long have you been studying Sanskritam? Iti. So those of us who are familiar with this kind of usage, we are able to tell. However, initially when we are looking at this, bhavati, saha bhavati, patati, saha pustakam patati, tadeva asmakam manasi prathamam agacchati. That this is a verb, because we see this all the time, bhavati, patati, as verbs. But is it actually a verb here?
No. No.
Tarhi kim?
Sati saptami bhavati.
Astu. It is usage of sati saptami iti vaktum shaknumaha. Atra bhavat patat tadrisham pratipadikam asti. So it is not a verb, but it is actually an adjective atra. Astu, those who don't know this form, it is okay. I just took this to illustrate how when we are able to get the context, understand the context better, and we are able to differentiate between verb or noun, we get more clues into what the artha can be. Astu uttamam. Etena vayam idanim stagayamah. We will go to the slides. Astu. Atah yatha bhavantah uktavantah. So the unique challenges that make dictionary lookup challenging in Sanskritam are vibhakti rupani. Saptasu vibhaktishu, trishu lingeshu, trishu vachaneshu api rupani santi. Recognizing the vibhakti rupam, converting it back to pratipadikam. Dhatu rupani. Knowing what are the Kriyapadani and how to convert them to dhatu. That is another challenge. Then sandayaha, samasaha, bhavantaha jananti. Anekartha vyavastha. Multiple meanings of one word. Etad vayam janimah. Astu. Before we address how to go about doing each of these things, I want to introduce certain Sanskritam dictionaries. As we go along, the unique aspects of these dictionaries I will explain further. There are many, many, many dictionaries. In fact, so many dictionaries, the tradition of dictionaries is very rich in Sanskritam. Starting the current oldest surviving dictionary, not fully but in parts, is Yaskacharya's Nirukta. Nirukta, Nighantu, Nirukta. These are, this particular dictionary is very, very ancient and gives the meaning of several words used in the Vedas. And it is in verse form. In tradition, in Sanskritam tradition, everything is in the form of a verse or in the form of a shloka or set in some meter so that people can read and then memorize it. So even now, if you go to Gurukulas, these kinds of dictionaries will be studied in order to understand very, very old, ancient texts. And then there have been so many dictionaries with very, very different purposes, some of which we will see a bit later. But some somewhat modern dictionaries I wanted to highlight. To translate between English and Sanskritam, you have several dictionaries. Apte, Vaman Shivram Apte. So his dictionary is very, very famous. Then you have Monier Williams. And for some modern words, for example, computing related words or words that were not used in somewhat more ancient times, for those you can refer to spokensanskrit.org or learnsanskrit.cc. Astu. But then there are Sanskrit to Sanskrit dictionaries. They take a Sanskritam word and then explain it in Sanskritam itself. Examples are Shabda Kalpadruma and Vachaspadyam, both of which were written around or more than 200 years ago. So Shabda Kalpadruma was actually written by a Raja, and Vachaspadyam was written by a person called Vachaspati iti. So the unique aspect of Sanskrit to Sanskrit dictionary, we will see later also, is that they often offer the vyutpattihi or derivation of a word. Normally in Sanskrit, English, Sanskrit dictionaries, you don't have derivations or how a word came about. Idanim kamapi shabdam svikurmah udaharanam iti chintayantu. Udaharanam iti shabdah asti. Now, how did that word come about? Ut plus a plus hr iti dhatuhu. Tasmat lyut iti pratyaha. So all of this grammatical derivation you can find in Sanskrit to Sanskrit dictionaries, which is a unique aspect of them. Then there are dictionary aggregators. You can download all these dictionaries and some more, and then they will present all results together. The one that I have been showing is kosha.sanskrit.today. This is the one I use. It's very, very simple. I will explain a bit more later on how to use this. You have ashtadhyayi.com, also excellent. It combines some other dictionaries not in kosha.sanskrit.today. And then if you want offline dictionaries, you can get Golden Dictionary, Star Dict, whatever. There are many other options available. So for example, this is Golden Dict. You can look up a word, the name Kamala, Tasya Artaha Agachanti. So I've installed multiple dictionaries here. I've installed Apte Dictionary, Kalpadruma, Monier Williams, Shabda Sagara, Vachaspatyam, so many. And then you can see here. So whatever works for you is fine. But having one dictionary aggregator that you know how to use very efficiently is very, very important. I will go into some tips of how to use some of these in an efficient way later. Astu, idanim, let us come back to how do you deal with all of these aspects. Now, how to look up Namapadam. We all know we need to convert the Namapadam to a Pratipadikam. How do you do that? Ita vayam udaharanam drishtavantah chatraha vidyalaya granthan pathanti. Kramat kramashaha atra pratipadikani santi chatra vidyalaya grantha. So you can search for the Pratipadikam. In some dictionaries, mostly in all dictionaries, you search by the Pratipadikam. In some dictionaries, such as Shabdakalpadruma, you actually search by the Pratama Ekavachana Rupam, not the Pratipadikam directly. But this is just a detail. So if you want to search for Matra iti Pratipadikam, in Shabda Kalpadruma, you will search Mata, Pratama Ekavachana Rupam. And So the question is, how do you get Pratipadikam from Namapadam? For this, there is no universal answer except by practice. As you see more and more forms, you intuitively understand, oh, this is Akaranta Shabdaha, Ikaranta Shabdaha, Kalanta Shabdaha, Ataha Aham Evam Anveshtum Shaknomi. So you automatically get this in your mind. So we know Grantaha is an Akaranta Shabdaha. So we Grantan, when we see the Rupam, we know that Grantha is the Pratipadikam. Now, let us search for, there is a site called sanskritabhyas.in. So if you go to the site, sometimes you are able to search for a Namapadam form if they have that Namapadam in their list, and it will come. So if you search for Grantan, you get Grantha iti Shabdaha. Grantaha, Grantau, Grantaha. So you know that Grantha is the Pratipadikam. Pullinge Pratipadikam asti. Iti vayam janima. So there are some potential automated tools.
But
mostly,
which site is that?
It is sanskritabhyas.in. I will share the slides. I have the link to the site here in the slide itself. But you're able to see my screen, right? When I show the site. Astu.
Yes.
Astu. So sometimes you get the word here, but there are an infinite number of Pratipadikani. So it is not possible to list everything. But many a time you get it here. Abhyasena ayam yatum shaknumah. So one specific pattern, one example pattern for how with experience we get to understand, get an intuition for how to convert the Namapadam to Pratipadikam. Now, you are probably aware of the famous shloka from Vishnu Sahasranama. Vanamali Gadi Sharngi Shankhi Chakri Chanandaki. Kopi tam shlokam bhaktum shaknoti va, shravaitum shaknoti va?
Madam?
Astu.
Mali Gadi Shargi Shanki Chakri Chanandaki Shriman Narayana Vishnu Vasudevo Bhirakshatu.
Uttamam. Tatra Vanamali iti Gadi Sharngi iti gachati. How do you search for these words? How do you convert these to Pratipadikam?
Malin Gadin.
Uttamam. Vanamali iti shabdasya Pratipadikam asti. Vanamalin. Astu? Tatha.
Mahoday, what if I don't know that it is Vanamalin?
Tadarthameva aham etad uktavan. This is an example of a pattern where people usually think, oh, Vanamali, it should be Dirgha Ikaranta, therefore it is Strilinga. Iti Janaha Brahmanti. But actually it is Pullinga word Nakarantaha Shabdaha. Now, how do you know this? The answer is by practice. But this is a very commonly occurring case that I wanted to point out, where when we recognize the pattern, we are able to, with experience, get the Pratipadikam. But in this case, we can take advantage of certain dictionaries where you can search by the Pratama Ekavachana Rupam, such as Shabdakalpadruva. So, if you actually search for Vanamali as it is, the Dirgha Ikaranta form, in Kalpadruma alone, you will get the result. Because only in this dictionary you can search by, at least on this site, you can search by Pratama Ekavachana Rupam. So as soon as you get this, you know, okay, this is probably not a Ikaranta Strilinga Shabdaha. Ataha aham Vanamalin iti Anvishami. So if you go to Vanamalin, you get all the other dictionaries. So you can figure it out like this. Atra, now you can see here the unique aspect of Sanskrit to Sanskrit dictionaries. Vyutpattihi datta Vanamala asya asti iti in pratyayantaha shabdaha Vanamali. So how to interpret all of these varies by dictionary. Generally in the case of both Sanskritam and English dictionaries, you have the gender, linga. If it is a Namapadam, the linga is mentioned. Pullingeva, Strilingeva, Napumsakalingeva. Is it a noun or an adjective? And in Sanskritam dictionaries, what is its derivation? Vanamala asti yasya saha vanamali astu tasmate in iti pratyaha asti. So you add the in pratyaya to get Vanamali. Yatha vidyarthi tatrapi in iti pratyaya. So in this way you can find it. So it was just an example. एतावत् पर्यन्तम् इतोपि प्रश्नाः सन्ति वा?
महोदय एकः प्रश्नः अस्ति. I understand that pu stands for pulling. What does the first letter stands for? I do not understand, Mahoday.
अत्र नकारान्त शब्दः इति उच्यते. वनमालिन् इति नकारान्त शब्दः. तदर्थं. Different dictionaries have different details, different format for details.
Many times I see M, F, N written there.
That I have it in my slides. I will come to that.
धन्यवादः.
उत्तमः प्रश्नः. अस्तु. अस्तु, इतोपि प्रश्नाः सन्ति वा? To answer Rita Mahodaya's question. Now, the linga is something that we generally cannot know without referring to a dictionary. Now, is it pataha or patam? It is actually pataha, but we cannot know without referring to a dictionary. So, the one detail that all dictionaries give is the atra pashyamah is the gender of the Namapadam. Gender of the Namapadam. Pullingeva, Strilingeva, Napumsakalingeva. Idanim pata iti vayam pashyamah. Kshamyatam, pata nasti pata. Atra pashyantu M iti male. Male pataha. Atra sarvatra male iti dattam. Atra astu spoken Sanskrit atrapi M ityukte male, masculine. Anantaram kalpadruma ityasmin पाठः पुल्लिङ्गे पुम् इति दत्तम्. वाचस्पत्यं पुनः पुम् पु इति दत्तम्. So this is the linga. Linga is one of the important details of a Namapadam. So that you can get in many dictionaries. Now, the next point which Rita Mahodaya was also mentioning is noun versus adjective. Many people actually don't use this most effectively. Now, what I mean by this is, let me give you a sentence. Please translate into Sanskritam. I will give you a sentence in English. I'll give you two sentences. The cold bothers me. Outside it is cold, so the cold bothers me. Anyatha, the water is cold. Iti chintayantu. When you look at these two sentences at a surface level, you see that cold is common to both. So, suppose you want to translate this to Sanskritam. What you do, you look up cold. Kimapi agachati. Now let us look at cold. This is English to Sanskritam. Cold. Kim Shitalam iti kimapi agachati. So I say Shitalam badhate kimapi. It troubles me. Mam badhate. Please forgive the spelling. It should actually be the
Shitalam or Shaityam?
Tadeva tatreva agachami ekanimsham. Shitalam mam badhate iti janaha uttamam uttama uha tadeva. I will come to that. Now, this is Yatha Ramachandran Mahodaya Vadati. This is a mistake because of adjective versus noun. You need to understand adjective versus noun. Visheshanam, Visheshanam. Kshamyatam, Visheshanam atava Visheshyam. Now, the cold here, is it an adjective or a noun?
No.
It is a noun. Does not describe anything else. It is a noun by itself. A noun like Ramaha, atava Vrikshaha, Jalam, all of these are nouns. They do not describe other things. They are things themselves. So, since this is an adjective, in the dictionary, you should look for an adjective. Since this is a noun, you should in the dictionary look for a noun form of cold. Tat katham kurmaha iti chete. Atra astu, the dictionaries here are let's take an example of spoken Sanskritam. Atra Shitala, if you see, is actually an adjective. It is an adjective. In many dictionaries, to denote adjective, it is either ADJ or they say MFN, or they give the forms in male, female and neuter gender. Udaharanartham, atra kutra asti? Shitalaha, shitala, shitalam. A means adjective. So shitalaha kim vadamaha? Shitala bhumihi, shitalam jalam. Tatra adjective asti. Parantu, looking for a noun form, you can perhaps choose shaityam. Shaityam is a noun form. If it does not say adjective, शीतत्वं तदपि सम्यक्, परन्तु शैत्यम् इति standard form, very commonly used. अतः we choose the noun form of the word cold, which is shaityam. यथा रामचन्द्रन महोदयः उक्तवान्, शैत्यं मां बाधते. Water is cold. कथं अनुवदामः?
जलं शीतलमस्ति.
जलं शीतलम् अस्ति. अत्र शीतलं जलम्. अत्र adjective अस्ति. So please keep this in mind when you are translating to and from Sanskritam. The difference between noun and adjective. Noun is usually represented as in अथवा क्षम्यताम् in अथवा a particular linga is given to the noun. इदानीं रामः इत्युक्ते male, Rama, M in brackets, it will be given M. Whereas for adjective, usually they say A or ADJ in English dictionary. In Sanskritam dictionaries, all the three forms will be given. Shitalaha, shitalam, shitala, shitalam.
Mahode, when you found Shaityam, when you showed that screen, it had S in the front. What does that mean? S, right? Is that an S?
It is an S. I am not entirely sure, but we'll have to look at the Monier-Williams dictionary, and there they will have a description of what everything. But drashtavyam. But every dictionary has a slightly different way of differentiating between adjectives and nouns.
So there are words which are both adjective and noun also, correct? Krishnaha.
Satyam. Amjane Mahodaya. Tata Shabdaha Santi. In a particular context, you have to see whether you are using it as a noun or an adjective and choose the appropriate one or translate it appropriately.
Dhanyawad.
Anantaram, Sanskrit to Sanskrit dictionaries give Vyutpattihi. This we already know. We have already talked about this. Now, let us move on to Kriyapadam. So now we know how approximately to overall at a high level, what is the strategy to search an Namapadam and the various Sukshma Amshaha. Now we will look at Kriyapadam. Kriyapadam, this is a lot more systematic. I will tell you why in a bit. Parantu udaharanam tasminneva vakye chatraha vidyalaya granthan pathanti. Now, dhatuhu vayam janimaha pathanti itasya dhatuhu kaha pat iti vayam janimaha. So in general, how to get the dhatu from the Kriyapadam? Now, the thing about Kriyapadam, about dhatus, is that there are a finite set of dhatus. There are not an infinite set. There are a finite set of dhatus. Around 2000 plus dhatu, dhatavasanti. So the grammar classifies the dhatus into ghanas from where there is an automated mechanistic way to generate all the rupani. So there is this wonderful site called ashtadhyayi.com. You all probably will know it. Created by Nilesh Bodas Mahodayah. Atra dhatu pataha iti gachantu. Tatra you can search for the form that you encounter. Now, patanti iti anvishamaschete tatra dhatuhu agachati. Pat kartari lat lakaraha iti bahuvachane rupam iti agachati. So you know the dhatu is pat, and then you go to the kosha and you are able to search for pat and you get the meaning. Astu? To read, to instruct, to learn. Astu. So this is a very, very systematic way. Whatever Kriyapadam you get, you can search and get the meaning, get the corresponding dhatu on ashtadhyayi.com. And then, of course, you know the, so you look up the dhatu to get the meaning, and then you combine with the meaning of the rupa. So if it is patishyati, it means future, will read. If it is apatat, it is past, read, iti. There are many other kriyapada, derivatory kriyapada forms like nich, sun, and so on. So for example, this is sananta, pipatishati. If you encounter a form like this, you can still go and search. It tells you sannante. All these forms are given here. So pipatishati means he wants to read it. So those who don't know this form, don't worry, but just know that there are many, many forms beyond just kartari and karmani. So in karmani, you have patyate. So if you search for patyate also, it will appear. You can get the dhatu.
Just want to add, I think in the web version, it is not functioning well. In the desktop version, all these things are easily coming in Ashtadhyayi. That's my experience. In in your cell phone, it's little difficult. Another thing is, I think that what is that, Sanskrit.cc? That one, if you search Patati, I think left side it gives the dhatu also.
Oh, evam va, astu. Uttama. Astu. Patati iti aham anvishami. Atra pat iti dhatu agachati. Astu, uttama. Dhanyavadah janema. Astu. So simple, Parantu, Kriyapadams are actually not so simple because of Upasargaha. Upasargaha are
even
prefix.
without upasarga, maybe there are different forms of pat is a easy dhatu, but there are some dhatus which have the same dhatu, not the upadeshika rupam, the dhatu that we look for, which differs in their meaning. So there is a confusion which one is the right dhatu to pick.
Satyam. Idanim pathayati iti pashyamah chete. That is a derivative form. Yata Lavanya Mahodaya Uktavati. There are many other like Nama Dhatus, and many other derivations which may not directly appear in the dhatu pata. Idanim shabdam karoti, shabdayate. So there is a dhatu shabdayate. You look that up here, you won't find it because it is not a root form. It is a nama dhatu. So there are cases like that that may not work. But for the most part, the dhatus the kriyapadams that you encounter in usage, you will be able to find them here. So patayati iti pashyamah chet tad nijante tadapi agachati. So many forms are given, even young etadapi dattamasti. So Lavanya Mahodaya makes an excellent point. But for you can get most of the forms on this site. So some forms you may require to search elsewhere. Astu. Anim upasargaha. Upasargaha, as you all may have experienced, completely modify the meaning of a verb in many ways. Now, the good thing is the upasargas are known. There are 22 upasargas. Prapara, Samanvava, Nirtura, there's even a karika that lists all the upasargas. So you can know all of them and how to recognize them. Now, how do you go about handling upasargas? The first thing is to recognize and separate any upasarga. Suppose you are reading and you come across this word udahriyate as a udaharanam. When I was thinking of udaharanams, I realized udaharanam itself is an example. So udahriyate iti kinchit chintayantu. Tatra, you look at this word and you are able to guess that it contains two upasargas, ut plus a, and then the verb form is kriyate. Kriyate. So you search for kriyate in ashtadhyayi.com. You get khr harane iti dhatu. In karmani prayogaha, bhava karmanoho. So you know it is khr dhatu in karmani prayoga. Now you go and search for khr in the dictionary. You go and search for khr in the dictionary. You get the meaning of khr. Saha harati. Harati to snatch away, to take, to accept, to steal. Tata tasya artaha santi. But this has nothing to do with udaharati. Udaharati is a completely different word with a different meaning. So how do you search for upasarga sahitaha shabdaha? So what you do is you just simply combine the upasarga with the dhatus. This is how you search for them in the dictionary. So udahr, you just do udahr, and you search for udahr in the dictionary. So if you go here and search for udahr, you get to cite as an example or illustrate. Atra. So you get the meaning of udaharati atava udahr. Astu? So this is how you search for upasarga sahitaha dhatavaha shabdaha. You just simply combine all the upasargas with the dhatu and search directly like that. Now, let me ask you an example. Pratyagachati. Suppose I encounter this word. How do I search for it in the dictionary? What should I search?
Prati plus
Yeah,
a plus gam.
Gam dhatu. Pratyagam.
Pratyagam. Iti dhatuhu. So I search for pratyagam in the dictionary. Pratyagam, to come back, to return. Evam anveshtum shaknumah. Okay.
Mahodaya,
Now,
can we search with that pratipadik, I mean, upasarga plus kriya, that like for example, pratyaham in Ashtadhyayi itself?
Tadeva na agachati. So at least until now there is no support, because again there are an infinite number of upasargas that can be added in any order, and so it becomes difficult to cover all of them. So if you do astu agachati iti pashyamaha, agachati kimapi na labhyate. So you have to leave out a, and then you search for gachati, you get gam. That said, there are some upasargarthas given here. So you can come here and then you can look gam agachati astu atra Hindi bhashayam dattamasti, parantu it is given. But again, you see here pratyagachati, prati plus a is not given. So this is not a comprehensive list, but still sometimes it helps. But in the dictionary, you will always find, if you search for pratyagam, you will find with whatever combination of upasarga, it will give the meaning. Astu.
Is there a search engine where I can put the prefixes and the verb, and then so it will automate, like, because if I don't know the sandhi rules, I cannot form the word.
Uttamaha prashnaha. Uttamaha prashnaha. So that is actually what I listed here. So there is an app called, this is available for both Android and iPhone, called Sanskrit Dhatu 360. It is a, I think, generally little known app, but it is a wonderful app where you can search for Rupani with the upasarga directly, and it gives you the form. It gives you the meaning.
Can you
also.
repeat the name again? What is the app?
Atra likitam asti. I think you can see it here. Sanskrit Dhatu 360. I have the link. I will share this slide deck after the session. There is the link here. You can go to this site and download it.
This will be uploaded?
No, it is available on the App Store. So you can go.
Video I am asking will be uploaded later, no?
Mahodaya, it is already going live on YouTube, Mahodaya, so it will be available.
Mahodaya, this is a paid app. Paid app, astu?
No, paid app nasti. So there are two apps, I think, from these people. One is a dictionary, and then the other is Sanskrit Dhatu 360. It's free to install. I think they do have ads, or you can purchase content once you're inside the app, but the app itself is free. So in this app, it gives the name in English. Take for example, to say. You have to say to tell, to announce, to relate, to proclaim, to shout. And there are so many things that mean approximately the same thing. But there are sukshma bedaha in the arthas. There are some differences. In this app, it gives you that, in my experience, it gives you that fine distinction between what is the exact meaning or not. So if you look at the Dhatu Pata, so the Dhatu Pata is an ancient text that gives the approximate meanings of dhatus. So if you look at Arthaha, Gam Gatau, Gatau, it is given in Saptami Vibhakti. So this is Gatihi in Saptami Vibhakti, Gatau. So it means Gam is used in the sense of going. But there are many other dhatus. For example, Dhav. If you look at Dhav, it'll, I don't know exactly, but there are many dhatus with different meanings that will still say Gatau. Because they indicate motion, movement. So if you want to get a more finer version of the meaning, then you can look for dictionaries or an app like Sanskrit Dhatu 360. Astu. Now, then moving on, Kridanta Rupani. You all probably know Kridanta Rupani. They are a class of pratyayas that are derived. They're a class of forms that are derived using specific pratyayas from dhatus. So you take a dhatu like pat, and then you derive many forms like patitavan, patitavati. The pratipadikam for that is patitavat. You have patita, patitva, patitum, patitavya, pataniya, pat, patana, pataka, patitra. Itopi bhavaha santi. These are very, very commonly encountered forms. So I just wanted to discuss these also separately. These are Namapadas. All Kridantas are Namapadas. So we can look up the dictionary using the Pratipadikam. Suppose you have Patitavan. You obviously cannot directly search for Patitavan, but you can search for Patitavat. Patitavat iti dhatuhu. Ataha atra gatva Patitavat iti अन्विषामः चेतः. अस्तु, प्रायः एतदपि नास्ति. पठित अस्तु, पठित पठित इति आगच्छति. क्ता प्रत्ययान्तं रूपं. Now you can see in the Sanskrit dictionaries, you can see the vyutpattihi. Pat plus kta. Kta iti pratyayah. Patita. Iti. Atra tri means trishu lingeshu. So this is an adjective. Male, female and neuter. So it is an adjective. Patitaha, patita, patitam. Tatha. Parantu atra, like I demonstrated with patitavan or patitavat, prayaha sarvani rupani sakshat drashtum na shakyani. So you may not be able to search patitavat directly. But kridantas are a very common form. So ashtadhyayi.com has a way to search for the kridanta directly. Just like you can search for Kriyapadani directly, you can search for these kridantas directly. And these cover most of the commonly occurring forms. So you can even search Patitavan here. You don't even need to search the Pratipadikam. You can search Patitavan. It tells you Ktavatu Pratyayantam. Patitavan, Patitavati of Pat Dhatuhu. So again, you know it is pat dhatu. You can search the dictionary for just pat, and then after knowing the meaning of the specific pratyaya, you can guess the meaning of the word patitavan. You know that tavatu means indicates past tense. Similarly, for example, Kim, atra tavya means should do that action. So should read. Tata nuvul means someone who does that action. So patakaha means one who reads. Eva. Astu evam bhavantah अन्वेष्टुं शक्नुवन्ति अत्र कृदन्त रूपाणां कृते. Similarly with upasargas, so if we have pratyagatavan, you separate out pratya gatavan iti kridanta rupam, you search for that, get the gam dhatu, again you have pratyagam, and you can search the meaning of that. Similar to Kriyapadam, how we separate upasarga. Astu, etavat paryantam prashnaः सन्ति वा? अस्तु, अत्र एकम् उदाहरणं दत्तम्.
शत्रुशानच् अपि अन्वेष्टुं शक्यते वा?
शत्रुशानच् अपि अत्र शत्रुप्रत्ययः अस्ति. इदानीं शयानः इति किमपि आगच्छति चेत् अत्र शानच् प्रत्ययान्तं रूपमपि asti. So you can search. Now I come across a word paripakvam. I can of course directly go to the dictionary. I can search for paripakva, which is the pratipadikam. But suppose I know it is a kriyapadam. Kshamidam, it is a kridantam. Then what I do is I separate out the pari, upasarga, and search for pakvam in ashtadhyayi.com. I get kta pratyayanta of pach iti dhatu. Pach plus kta pratyaya gives pakva. Pakva means that which is cooked, tava ripened iti artha. Pari pach kta iti aham janami. So I can look for pari pach in the dictionary to get even more meanings. Maybe this pakvam, because it is a particular form, there may not be so much detail or it may not be found. But pari pach definitely will be there in the dictionary because it is a upasarga plus dhatu. And you can find meanings here. Just an example.
Mahoday, I have a doubt, but my question might not be very clear because I am not very clear with the understanding of it. Okay, there is a word called vijayate. Now I know that vi yoga jayate, it is there. It might be ji dhatu. So I'm looking in Ashtadhyayi for ji dhatu and I find that it is a parasmaipadi dhatu. So jayati is the correct word. But when we add the upasarga, it suddenly becomes atmanepadi because of whatever Paninian rule in there. But how do I understand that? How can I find the correct rupam of this vijayate? If it is really from this ji dhatu, and why did it become? How can I find that from the dictionaries, Mahoday?
Uttamaha prashnaha. You can, once you know it is jaya dhatu with the v upasarga, sorry, it is the ji dhatu. So v ji atra jaya astu vastutah jayate iti asha prayogaha. In fact, in the katham vadamaha, the representative sentence of India, tatra satyameva jayate ityeva agachati, not jayati. So jayate is there, but you won't find it here. It's an asha prayoga. Parantu tad bhinnam. Atra jayat astu. Sometimes atmane parasmai they get interchanged. Yata bhavati uktavati. Ataha ji iti dhatuhu. Jaye. So you search for VG. VG. Here you probably get V Jayate, rarely Jayati. Parantu in the Sanskritam, atra astu. Atra you, as long as you convert it to the dhatu form and then you search, you get the meaning. But to determine what dhatus change form from parasmai to atmane, prayaha anyatra drashtum shaknumaha. So if you just search for the dhatu ji in this in the Vachaspatyam, in the Sanskritam to Sanskritam dictionaries, they are of an encyclopedic nature. So they give lots of details about so many things related to the dhatu. Perhaps they also give the Upasarga Sahita details, like it says here, there should be somewhere else just V alone, but it says the parasmai will change to atmane. So there are lots of details will be given if you search for just the dhatu. So maybe using techniques like this, you can figure out. Astu. Uttama Krishna.
धन्यवादः महोदय.
Stitopi Prashna santi va? Astu. Finally, I want to also mention about encodings. Now, this is one thing that I referred to when I said how to we should learn how to use dictionaries effectively. At least one aggregated dictionary we should learn to use very effectively, efficiently. So quickly, whenever we have a word, we should know how to search it. Since keyboards are in English, we need to learn how to type in Sanskritam using English letters. There are transliteration formats. The two most commonly used ones are Hayawardh Kyoto and iTrans. So for each letter, like Ka is Ka, and then Ka is Kha, Ga is Ga, Ga. The format slightly varies in some places, like in Hayawardh Kyoto, Cha is Cha, in iTrans it is capital Cha. But you can see in this chart what is what. And you should know for your particular dictionary aggregator what format they use. So if you are using Golden Dict, for example, you want to search as to Vanamali, then you search for using iTrans. iTrans is what Golden Dict uses. So you have to say Vanam Maali. A is Dirgha Akaraha, and I is Dirgha Ikaraha. Ataha Vanamala Asya Asti iti in Tata Agachati. But if you search for capital A, L, capital I, nothing will come. Because this is not the format it expects it in. Whereas if you go to kosha.sanskrit.today, it uses the Hayawardh Kyoto format, which is slightly different. In my opinion, it's actually easier. But if you go here and search for Vanamali, you cannot search for MAALII. It will not work, because that's not the format it recognizes. You have to use M capital A, L capital I. That is how you represent the Dirgha. And then you get it. Whichever dictionary aggregator you use, whichever, whether it is offline or online, you should learn to use it effectively. And to do that, you need to know the encodings. So I have the chart here.
There is one Pramukh E. That's what I use. That also, it's, yeah.
Uttamam. Astu Mahoday. Astu. Prayaha, you can share the details of that in our groups.
Pramukh Ayami.
Astu. Uttam. Astu, I know we have come up at 1.5 hours, but I had one more thing I wanted to mention. Amarakoshaha. Amarakoshaha.
Chamita Bhode, can I ask one thing before you move further?
Please.
This Hayawardh Kyoto, you said that some capital letters are used. Can you explain just one more example? How to write is how to guess it, or this table should always be there with us.
This table you can use initially for reference. As you keep practicing, you will easily know what words to use.
In Wikipedia.
It is there in Wikipedia also. You can just search for Hayawardh Kyoto. It'll come up in Wikipedia. This just the how do you write each letter in English?
Okay.
In Pramukh, that Pramukh Ayami, that the keyboard will be the status bar if you want to refer.
Astu.
Dhanyawad. I got the clue.
Astu.
Yeah, Mahodaya, one question. Is there a dictionary where we have usage in a sentence? Sometimes in English dictionaries, they give the word, the meaning, and then an example usage. If that is there, that will be really useful to understand better.
Nischayana. So definitely in dictionaries, you will have Atra. In this Vanamali, for example, it says here, and these are all examples of where it is used. So let me take Astu. Astu Artha iti shabdam vayam pratamam drishtavantah tatra pashyamah chete. In Apte dictionary, so for example, these things are usages from where also, like this, from this text, and then here from Ramayanam also, what is the usage? Artha Shastra, Visharadam, Tata. Usages are given. But in my experience, only when your Sanskritam understanding is very, very advanced, can you take advantage of these references to know how to use it yourself. Because these are themselves from granthas like Ramayanam or Mahabharatam or Shastra Grantaha. So you have to spend a lot of time actually deciphering what is this. How, do the sandhi vichedam and then understand it yourself, the anvaya, and only then can you understand, artha is used in this way in this block. I recommend in my experience that this Sanskrit Dhatu 360 app for Kriyapada atava kridanta rupani, if you have, for example, udahriyate, you can look in this app. It gives a lot of sentences that use different forms of this udaharati, udahriyate, udaharanam, udahritam, in a lot of different ways in sentences. So it tells you how to use them in sentences. And that I have personally found very helpful, especially when our knowledge of Sanskritam is not already at the very advanced level. So if you already know Sanskritam very well, then definitely these dictionary entries, when you look at these directly, you will be able to understand them, how they are used in practice. एतद् वक्तुम् इष्टवान्. उत्तमम्. अस्तु.
Thank you, ma'am.
इतोपि प्रश्नः वा? अस्तु.
Mahodaya, just one point. This Samsadini of University of Hyderabad, tatropi vartate, tatra Amarakoshat bahavaha padani api santi. Iti ekam.
Astu. Ma'am, I understand the site you are referring to. I think that is also very helpful. If you can, again, like Janev Mahoday, if you can post, like Janev Mahoday mentioned the other dictionary. So like that, Mahoday, if you can also post the link in our groups, then it will be helpful.
UDO-HOC or something is there.
Ma'am Mahodaya, UOHYD. Tatra ekameva क्लिष्टः अस्ति संस्कृते देवनागर्यां कर्तुं शक्यते चेत् उत्तमं भविष्यति.
ओ एवं वा? अस्तु अस्तु.
आमाम्. आङ्ग्लभाषायां कर्तुं उत्तमानि उत्तराणि न दातव्यानि.
ओ एवम्. अस्तु अस्तु. आम्. So if you want to type in Sanskritam directly, this is somewhat of a side topic, but like Karthik Mahoday said, it's an important one. You have several ways of doing it. The way I use that I found most effective, there is Google Input Tools extension for the browser. You can install it and then you can use iTrans. You can use Harvard Kyoto. Actually, if I want to type something here, I just do it in Harvard Kyoto, and then the word will automatically come up. It also recognizes iTrans. So whatever format you use, you can use it to type quickly. So for websites that require Devanagari input directly, you can use extensions like this.
भाषा ट्रान्स् अपि अस्ति. सः कोऽपि अस्माकं भारतदेशे एव निर्मितः. सः बहवः भाषान् कर्तुं शक्यते.
एवम् उत्तमम्.
प्रमुख Baraha, what you call other Alagi plus classic.
एवम् उत्तमम्. आम् सम्यक्. अस्तु. एकमेव अंशम् अहं वक्तुम् इष्टवान्. अमरकोशः. So generally people ask how to increase our vocabulary. How can dictionaries aid in that? And how to develop an intuition for meaning? Really, the only answer is patanam, shravanam, ityadi. So you have to keep reading a lot of sources. You have to keep hearing bhashanani from acharyas. Then you pick up new words and you get an intuition for how to use them yourself. By just looking at a dictionary, you get to know the meaning, but the usage, there are various flavors of usage. And for that, you definitely need to listen and read a lot. However, there is the thesaurus called Amarakosha. Amarakosha is very unique in that it collects. So a thesaurus generally collects words that have the same or close meaning. Amarakosha does the same. It collects related words that may be just exactly synonyms, or they may be slightly different. In fact, the usage of Amarakosha is not actually directly to collect the words with the same meaning, but Namalinganushasana, to tell which word has what linga. So let us look at an example of how Amarakosha is laid out and how we can benefit from it. Let us look at the very, very first shloka in Amarakosha, in the first kandam and the first varga called Swarga Vargaha. Swarga Varga combines several words that are related to the concept of heaven in general. Heaven, gods, names of gods, and so on. Atra Swaravyayam Swarganaka Tridiva Tridashalayaha Suraloko Dyodivau Dve Striyam Klibe Trivishtapam. Iti ekam pratamaha shlokaha tatra. Actually, in traditional Gurukulas even today, people memorize the complete Amarakosha when in their childhood. So their vocabulary is immense. They know so many words. Now, here what is meant is swar. The word swar is an avyayam. The word swarga, the word naka, the word tridiva, the word tridashala, dashalaya. These are all pullinga words that mean heaven. Swar also means heaven. Suralokaha is also pullinga. Dyo divau, dyuhu iti pratipad, dyu iti pratipadikam. These are also words meaning heaven. But in striyam, in strilinga. And then trivishtapam is yet another word meaning heaven in klibe, in apumsaka. So if you read this verse, you know now 8 or 9 synonyms for the word heaven. So this is one direct usage of Amarakosha. You know the synonyms of words. However, Amarakosha also helps to develop an intuition for the meaning of words as follows. In many places, related words are clubbed together. In the next, so the third sarga, this is Dikvargaha. There you have this shloka. Apidhana tirodhana pidhana chadana cha. Now, this generally refers to words that are used in the meaning of to close or to cover. So you have the, and before this there is another stanza, Antardha Vyavadha iti. Those are also related words, but anyhow, let's look at this. Apidhana, Tirodhana, Pidhana, Achadana. All of these are related words, but they don't mean the same thing. So here Swaram, Kshamitam, Swar. Swarga, Naka, Tritiba, they all mean the same thing. They all mean heaven. Even though they each have individual meanings, in the end, they all mean heaven. But here, all of these don't mean exactly the same thing. They mean slightly different things. Now, we know Pidhanam. Pidhanam means to shut something, to close something. Dwarasya pidhanam kuru iti janaha vadanti. Close the door, shut the door. Pidhana. But then achadanam, you don't say dwarasya achadanam kuru. That is not the right usage. But it means to cover or to conceal. Nanim kambalena achadayami. I cover myself with a blanket. Tada achadanam ityasya prayogaha. But it's somewhat related to the concept of closing or covering or concealing. So you know that these words are related, and as you encounter them in practice, you understand the sukshma bedaha. So the Amarakosha is also very helpful for getting an intuition for related words and the meanings of related words. That may not be exactly synonyms, but similar.
एकः प्रश्नः महोदय, पिधानं करोतु इति अहं जानामि, तस्मिन् समये मम मनसि आगच्छति कथं भवति क्रियारूपं पिधातु वा पिधायतु वा उपायः अस्ति वा?
Tatrapi vastutah astu. This is a special case. In the case of pidhana, it is the actual form is actually apidhana. It is api is the upasarga and dhana is the kridanta. So if you know that apidhana is a kridanta rupa, you can go to ashtadhyayi.com. You can search for dhana. The dhatu is dha. The dhatu is dha. And it is yud pratyaha dhanam. Dhanam. And the form will be pidadehi. Tatha tralot lakara rupam. Pidadehi. Pidadhatu. Dwarasya pidhanam kuru atava dwaram pidadhatu. Dwaram pidadehi. Evam rupani santi.
धन्यवादः.
So that is a particularly unique case, but yeah, if you know it is a kridanta, you can search like always. So you can develop an intuition for meaning by knowing Amarakosha. There is a very excellent course in Vyoma Labs by a Vidwan. He teaches the Amarakosha. It was more than a year-long class. Only the first part they have done. There are 3 parts to Amarakosha. But if you are interested to know more about this, you can enroll for that course and look at the lectures. Okay, finally.
I mean, it may be out of question, out of the thing, but is there any site or something where, like we do the crosswords or these wordles, that type of thing in Sanskrit available? Any idea?
So crossword is called Padaranjani in Sanskritam.
Yes.
I have seen it in magazines like Sambhashana Sandeshaha from Sanskrita Bharati. There probably
online madhyena.
I haven't seen, but there probably are. I haven't searched for it specifically. So,
the magazine itself is available online, Mahoday. So we can do the Padaranjani there. The Sambhashana Sandesha.
Astu, astu. Tatra pashyami. Dhanyavada. Because I'm a wordle addict. So I can try that, to improve my vocabulary.
Satyam.
Mahodaya, Venkata Subramanya Mahodaya Pathayati.
Venkata Subramanya. Satyam, Satyam.
Founder of Yomanatra. Sai.
Oh, founder of Yoma. Just. Uttam.
That is only chanting course, no, Madhya? I don't think there is a...
Kevalam Patanam. That is not with meaning and other things.
Okay.
He also did one on Ashtadhyayi. The complete Ashtadhyayi was also taught. But that was also only chanting.
That is also chanting. Chanting is
Yeah.
I think it is.
This one, Soumya Krishnapur did one course on for Vyakarana. That was on Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi.
Oh, that is very extensive.
Yes, and that also had entrance exam and only for select.
Too deep.
Astu, Uttamam. There are many resources. Vyoma Labs is definitely wonderful. In the Amarakosha course, he doesn't go into detail about every word, but he does mention the meaning of words. And sometimes there is, if students ask question and answers, there is some discussion. But he does tell how to interpret the Amarakosha.
Correct. But it is not a meaning-based course. It is only mostly to chant.
It is mostly for chanting, to memorize the Amarakosha. Uttam. Samyak. Astu prayah idanim samayah nasti, parantu I had some exercises that will example shlokas or phrases where we can look at how to use the dictionary effectively. Parantu prayah bhavantaha swayam kartum shaknuvanti. And if you have any questions, you can reach out in the ganas.
What is the source for the third one, Mahodaya? Sahasa vidadita nakriya.
So there is this poet called
that story, that mother, child, and that mongoose.
The mongoose, Satyam. The original source is from the poet called Bharavi. He has composed. I forget the name of the text, but the first verse of the text is Sahasa Vitadita Nakriya Aviveka Paramapadam Padam Vrinutehi. I mean, it's a complete shloka. But from that, this is a famous snippet. Sahasa Vitadita Nakriya.
Lots of information. Thank you so much.
Atra astu प्रायः एतद् श्लोकद्वयमपि वयं दृष्टवन्तः. अत्र एतद् अहम् एकमेव दर्शयामि. अत्र विदधीत. Now you can probably guess that this is a Kriyapada, but you have no idea how to interpret it or parse it. Then you go to ashtadhyayi.com. You type Vidadita. You don't get anything. So you can guess that probably V is an upasarga. Then you delete this, get the theta. Again, you come across this dha dhatu. Dha dharana poshana yoho. The theta. In vidhiling. In astu. Atmanepadam dathita iti. So if you want to know the dictionary meaning, so the dhatu is dha, dha iti dhatu. You go here and then you type vidha, and then you get the meaning. So the dha dhatu is actually an extremely versatile dhatu. it has so many meanings. It has so many meanings. Vidhana iti shabdah tasmadeva agacchati. But in this particular context, it means to carry out, to do iti tasya artha, to carry out. Angla bhashayam sukshmate vadamah chet, to carry out an action, to perform iti atra asti. So then sahasa bhavantah sakshat anveshtum shaknuvanti. Sahasa is actually an avyaya that means hastily, without consideration. Sahasa vidadhita na kriya. So you can probably guess that. Na kriya atava na kriyam iti chintayami drashtavyam bhavati. But the meaning is, do not do actions hastily. Astu. Astu etena vayam samapayamah adyatanam satram. Mama email atra dattam asti. Bhavatam prashnaha sandeha santi chet kripaya preshayantu.
Mahodaya, you are teaching in ASK?
Kim Mahodaya, Kshamyatam.
You are teaching in Arshavidya Kendra? No.
No, so last year, so I was a student at Asha Seva Kendram. Under Jaikumar Mahodaya, I did Lata and Malati courses. And then
You are a teacher in Malati, our teacher.
Last year I taught Malati. So the first time that Malati was taught in Asha Seva Kendram, I was the teacher. But then I teach in Sanskrit Bharati. I run some Bhasha Varga here.
Are they in Bangalore? No.
In US.
Okay.
I am in San Jose. Astu. Sarvesham bahavah dhanyavadaha. Itopi vaktum bahavaha amshaha santi. Maybe depending on students' interests, we can have another session to go over more advanced topics. But for now, I hope that this helps you get started in efficiently looking up the dictionary. Astu.
Dhanyavada, Mahodaya. It really clarified lot of the mistakes that we were doing while searching. So, Dhanyavada,
Astu.
Mahodaya, will you be able to teach us how to install the Golden Dictionary app on our desktops?
Tadartham, if you just search for
Mahodaya, it is in the Sanskritam drive that we have for Asha Seva Kendra, Mahodaya, and it perfectly works. I even tried it recently, so you can go ahead with that.
Satyam.
Okay, I will try. I will try that.
So even online, if you look at Vyoma, they have an instruction.
You have to say Sanskrit from home, I think. That is where they
Sanskrit from home. Sanskrit
or digital Sanskrit Guru.
Atra, they have this guide. I think it is the same, similar to what Asha Seva Kendram has, but this works exactly. You just follow what they say here, it works.
Okay.
Dhanyavada, Mahodaya. Bahava dhanyavada.
धन्यवादः वयं मङ्गलश्लोकम् उक्त्वा विरमामः अस्तु ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम
Lavanya Mahodaya, can you just hold